Hey everyone, Assalamu alaikum. This is going to be the first video of a new series called How to Connect. In How to Grow, we talked about our relationship with ourselves. In How to Connect, we're going to be talking about our relationships with each other. So today's topic is going to be the fundamental of relationships, of healthy relationships. We're going to be talking about why they are important, how do you know if you have them, and what are things that you can be doing to improve and build healthier relationships. But before we get started, if you're new here, welcome to Growing with Danyal. Here we talk about everything related to mental health, personal development, and community organizing. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, subscribe. Let's get started. So no matter how much we try to say that we're independent, we're this, we're that, at the end of the day, we're just hardwired to be social creatures. The whole concept of the lone wolf is a very interesting thing because it's alluring, right? We think of cowboys, we think of samurai, we think of all these stories of like the lone wolf. But usually what we don't realize is it's associated with a wounded animal, someone that has gotten kicked out of the pack. And even though that's rebellious and edgy, it also usually means that you're not safe. It usually means that you're in a tough place. So it's extremely important, especially for the longevity of your life, that you surround yourself with healthy relationships, because that one, it gives you security in many ways. I want you to think about all the times where you needed help when it came to moving, when it came to some advice, when it came to so many different things in your life where you just couldn't have done it without other people. No matter how much we try to deny it, it is thanks to the effort of many people that we are where we are today. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, whether we're aware of it or we're not, it requires the effort of many people for us to go get to where we are today and for us to level up. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of this saying that you're the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And it's very important to understand what that means. The people that you surround yourself with, you're consuming and you're being exposed to their habits, their needs, their wants, how they perform, and how they think, right? And whether we like to admit it or not, that influences us in some way. Even if we don't, let's say for example, you have a bad group of friends or unhealthy family members that you surround yourself with, even if you are in a position where you're not actively behaving in the same way, just being around them is stunting your growth because you are unable to be around people who can challenge you, right? Who can push you, who can help give you that oomph that you need to grow. So it all not only helps you in terms of security, but it also helps you in terms of leveling up. And lastly, it's just your responsibility as a human being that's living and breathing, right? In Islam, we have serious consequences when it comes to breaking the bonds, right? In your relationships, even when you're mad at a fellow Muslim, you're supposed to forgive them within 3 days. There's a lot of wisdom behind that because, you owe it to the people around you to be an active contributing member, especially to those that are near and dear to you. Now, I say all that, but I want you to keep in mind the nuance of an unhealthy relationship. We're going to go into detail of what unhealthy relationships would look like and what to avoid and what to stay away from. But just for now, I want you to keep in mind that not all relationships will serve you, and there's a lot of research and theories out there on how you can tackle relationships that don't serve you, but you're obligated to maintaining them to a certain extent, right? Not all relationships are equal. Not all relationships deserve the same amount of energy from you. So just keep that in mind. But right now, we're just going to be talking about healthy relationships, good relationships. I'll tell you this story real quick. There was a time where I was in North Carolina and I had a very unhealthy work-life balance at the time, and it was my son's birthday, and I got called into work. And I should have called out, but I didn't. And my wife was pregnant at the time, so she was going to end up doing all the work that was needed to set up for the party at a park. And I had nurtured a small group of friends that I didn't have anything like that before, right? I'm a giver by nature, and it's something I struggled with when it came to receiving, allowing people in, because growing up, when I allowed people in, or even now as an adult, sometimes when I allow people in from some relationships that I have, I will hear about I'll never forget about it. People will always bring it up to me. People will blame, or give their opinion, or just basically just dangle the favor, right? And I didn't like that. So just to make it easier, I just kind of dealt with everything on my own, which was, from a place of scarcity, from a place of protection. And it's not really a place where I'm allowing other people who are good to thrive and be a part, have a stronger connection and bond with me. Nonetheless, I was forced in a position where I had to be vulnerable and rely. So I reached out to some of my friends, some of my close friends, and I asked them for help. And I remember when I called the first two, or the first three, I remember how they reacted. Like, I will never forget it. I'll never forget it, you guys. I heard language like, "Don't worry about it. We got you, brother. I'm right there. Let me know what you need. Sounds good. What's next? Consider it done." Just super reliability, right? And after the fact, I realized that some of these guys even canceled their other plans. They had to rush certain things, and they never brought it to my attention. They never told me. They helped out, drove around, picked up things, helped out. That was the first of many times from this friend group in particular that I received. I didn't only have to give and not expect anything in return. I received, and I received good, like goodness, genuine goodness. Like it was just beautiful. It was incredible. And for someone who's a giver, it was very interesting to experience what giving looked like when you're receiving. It just was like, wow, like this is what it feels like. This is great, right? So I knew what to look for moving forward in my future relationships. So how do we know that a relationship is healthy? Well, there needs to be some respect and mutual support. A relationship that's disrespectful, you guys are cursing each other all the time, you guys are actively trying to find ways to hurt one another, that's not a healthy relationship. You need to have some self-respect and respect of the other person. And that respect will fuel the support that you want to offer and the willingness to receive support, right? Willingness to receive support comes to the next one, which is trust. You need to be able to trust yourself and trust the other person. And there's things that you can do to build trust. The third thing that I would say is to come from a place of compassion, right? There needs to be compassion and mercy in your relationship, right? Empathy is one thing. Empathy is being able to understand what the other person is going through and feel for them. Compassion is feeling and having the desire to do something about it, right? It's not only just feeling, it's also contributing. So you want to keep that in mind too. That's another part of a healthy relationship. And then all of this leading into having a balanced relationship. You'll see a lot of times where there's like givers and takers, and both of them are extremely unhealthy. We sometimes think that the givers are admirable, but someone who's just a giver or a people pleaser is someone who's hiding their fear and their manipulation that manifests in a different way. You say that you are for everyone, but you're not allowing someone to come in, and that's not a relationship. And you can't blame the other person sometimes, because that also means that you have this wall that's preventing you. So you need to have a balanced relationship where both people are mutually benefiting. And it's not going to be 50-50, but it needs to be give and take at times. And the last part of that is boundaries. When we think about boundaries, usually we think about nowadays you'll hear people saying, oh, this person has all these demands or requirements in order to be in a relationship with them or to be their friend or family member. I really don't like seeing it that way. The way I like to see it is like a user manual. Sorry. It cracks me up every time I say it, but I genuinely believe it. I see boundaries as a way for me to understand how someone wants to receive love, right? They are unique in their own way. They have gone through all the things that they've gone through, and that has created a roadmap that allows me, that it's a journey in a way for me to pursue them, right? Whether it's a friend or a family member or a close companion of mine. It's a manual. Now, the manual is the responsibility of the owner, the person who, your life, right? When you are trying to communicate how you want to be loved, it's your responsibility to communicate your boundaries. You can't punish someone, you shouldn't punish someone, but you can't blame someone for not loving you properly when you don't want to understand yourself. And then you communicate from a place of abundance that I'm ready to receive love, but this is how it works for me, right? Because of what I've gone through, not a defensive wall, right? Then you're coming from a place of scarcity, a place of fear, a place of protection. And there requires some vulnerability and trust for you to be able to have a thriving relationship. So those are, like, in a nutshell, what I would say is how you can see what a healthy relationship would look like. So remember the caveat that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. We're only talking about healthy relationships. We're not talking about the unhealthy relationships that don't serve you, right? And the nuances there. We'll talk about that in another video. But now, knowing what a healthy relationship looks like, right? If we have majority of that, if not all of it, right? How can we nurture? What are the things that we can do, what you can do, right? Because I'm talking to you, to contribute to making sure that you have healthy relationships. Well, one of the first things you can do is just check in. Just regularly check in. I call them love nudges. Just give a quick nudge, no matter how busy you are. It doesn't have to be physical. Physical would be great, right? A hug, a kiss on the forehead to one of your companions. If it's, a fist bump, whatever it is, like, just physical touch goes a long way. Another thing that you can do is just find little ways to make someone feel special. Be curious. Come from a place of curiosity in the beginning of the relationship. Find out things that they like, the little things, because those go the longest, right? They go super far. When you know what their coffee drink is, when you know what their favorite color is, when you know what the things that they don't like, how they like certain things, how they don't like certain things. It doesn't matter if it's your family member, your friend, your partner, whatever it is, right? It's you focus on the little things and you remember them, you prioritize them. One thing I like to do is I like to send voice notes to people I love. I will see, it's their birthday. I'll try to have it saved on my phone. But even if I don't, if I follow them on social media, I'll find out one way or another, and then I eventually save it on my phone. I'll send them a voice note, or I'll send a thoughtful message privately, not on a group chat, because I just want them to know that I genuinely love them, that I'm making an extra effort. So just like a little bit extra effort, some love nudges go a long way. The next thing I want you to do is to practice empathy and gratitude, right? Even like when you know that someone is kind of going through something, just keep the door open, right? Sometimes, and even greater if you're willing to go through the door and sit in the room with them. But, let's say you're not able to do that because you have your own life, you have things that are going on, you're not able to really prioritize that. At least keep the door open, right? How do people know if the door is open? Just shoot them a message. Whenever I have a friend who's going through a rough time, I'll send a voice note because, I don't want to call them and be a bother. So I'll send them a voice note and be like, hey, assalamu alaikum. Just want to let you know that I love you and I'm thinking about you and I know you're going through a hard time. It doesn't matter when. Just give me a call. I'm here to listen. Whatever I can do. Just know I'm here. That's it. And I'll let them be. Sometimes people don't even respond. But I know I did my part to keep that line between us strong. And I've never been in a position where I regretted that. When it comes to gratitude, just being thankful and grateful for people, right? Reminding them that they're special, right? I love saying love to my male friends because we don't really hear it that often. And it's important to hear it. I love you, my brother. I love you. I really appreciate you. In the Muslim community, saying brother is like a normal thing. But when I say it, I mean it. Like when I usually say it to certain people, I'm like, no, you're my brother. right? You're my kin. You're part of my tribe. You're one of my companions, right? And I have like these certain terms that I use for like levels of relationship for me. My deepest one is like my companions, right? You are a companion of mine. And therefore I have a stronger responsibility to give you more attention and time, right? And because I know that we just have that bond that transcends just what I have with the average person. So those are things that I communicate proactively so the other person is aware. Sometimes they're just like, wow, I didn't know that. I appreciate that. And it makes them think twice, right? It's like, wow, like I feel the same way, right? And sometimes it's not, and it's okay. It's what you feel that you're communicating to keep the healthy bond, to keep the healthy relationship. And the last thing I would say is to celebrate and invest in the person. I usually joke around about this, is that I don't ask my friends for discounts. I try, if I can, to invest more. They make a new sticker, I'll buy it. They have a service, I'll spend money on it. If they have a social media account or they're trying to start to promote themselves, I'll like and share and favorite and save and comment every post that they have. I'll do whatever I can to support and celebrate. When they have a win, I genuinely say alhamdulillah. I congratulate them. I share it, right? I try to put that goodwill out there, that energy out there, right? I hype them up, right? Because you want them to know that, yeah, you're genuinely excited about them. You genuinely want them to win. Because there's not a zero-sum game. This is a game of abundance. If one wins, you all win, right? If one of your friends or one person in your group, whether it's your family or something, wins in a healthy environment, you all win, because you all level up. All it takes for one of you guys to get to another level to teach and show the other people how to get out in a healthy environment. There's exceptions to that, but that's what we should strive for. That's what I believe in, right? That's what I've seen work. So that's the fundamentals of a relationship in a nutshell. Now, there's so many fundamentals, so I would actually ask you, what are things that you find important that should be a fundamental in a relationship? Go in the comments and post them below. We're going to talk about nuances of relationships later and in the future of this series. So let me know what are things you would like for me to touch on. But until then, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with folks who you think would find it beneficial. So until next time, take care. Assalamu alaikum.